Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for opening. It's another day. My name is Ryan Suminyema. I'm a med student studying medical radiography in my third year, soon to, enter to another level as a fourth year, preparing for my upcoming exams. But yeah, so apart from my medical studies, I'm also a proficient, top-rated medical content writer, especially on LinkedIn. And apart from my medical content writing, I'm also, you know, you know, YouTube health content creator. You know, so today I have an amazing guest speaker. Hey Paris, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes. So, hi everyone. My name is Paris. I go by the Pink PA on Instagram, and I'm currently a first year PA student. I am attending South University in Richmond, based in like Virginia, DMV area. And I just finished my first quarter of studies, so I'm on break right now. And I took, I guess, like a little bit of the background story. I did attend Towson University for my undergraduate career, got my bachelor's in biology, and then I took a gap year as a medical assistant working in OB/GYN before attending PA school. So that's just a little bit about myself.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for introducing yourself, Paris.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of questions, a couple of questions for you to answer for the public. You ready?
Yes, that's fine.
So if I'm looking downwards, I'm reading the questions to Paris. All right. So you've been wondering what
Mhm.
rhymes I'm looking downwards for. So Paris, before I ask you the first question, what is the meaning of PA and then like a dash and S1? What does that mean?
Yeah. So PA stands for physician assistant, or now we're gradually moving towards physician associate as the name. And physician or PAs are advanced practice providers that can prescribe patient or prescribe medications. They can treat and diagnose patients. They can first assist in surgeries, and they work with the collaborating physician on all of their patients. So that relationship is kind of different between different providers or PAs and physicians, but overall, that's what we do. And a PAS1 means that I'm a physician assistant student in my first year of studies. So yeah, like I said, I
Okay.
just finished my first quarter.
Okay. So as you're going further, it's gonna be S2, S3, S4, right?
Yeah, we so PAs schools typically go either to PAS2 or PAS 3, depending on the program. But yeah, it's usually PAS 1, 2, and 3, and then that'll be it.
Okay. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So
Mhm.
that draws me to the first question. So what really motivated you to pursue a career as a PA, med student? How
Yeah.
did your biology background, at Townsend University influence your journey? So tell us.
Yeah. So I originally did start out as a pre-medical student at Towson University. I didn't know much about any other healthcare roles besides a physician and a nurse. But once I learned more during the COVID pandemic, a lot of people had more time. I learned about my passions and like my goals in life, and just the ability to switch specialties and being able to have more of a work life balance that is more of an opportunity as a PA. I felt it would be best to become a PA student. My biology degree definitely coincides with becoming a physician assistant because the requirements are pretty much in alignment with that major, organic chemistry, biology, anatomy, and physiology. So those courses were like the groundwork for PA school. And I definitely see how they play out now, working with anatomy and physiology as a PA student. You do need that background to be able to do well and succeed. So a lot of those courses definitely teach you the foundation of what you need to become a PA. And I definitely think the rigor of science courses definitely allows you to be successful as a PA student because it is a lot of work. So I definitely think it prepared me to do well overall. And I've done well so far as a PA student. So yeah.
So I want to get something straight.
Hmm.
Um, your studies, at Townsend University. What made you to study biology? Was it your initial course to study at Townsend University, or did it just come instantly? To tell us, what made you to
Um,
go for biology? instead of maybe medicine or chemistry? What made
Yeah.
you do that?
Mainly like in high school, I did like biology more than like the chemistry and the physics. I also think like when I thought about what I enjoyed most in class, biology stuck most in my mind. I was able to grasp the material the most. So, when I thought about my major, I thought I would be better off going into the biology field. And then I think biology is also, if I didn't go into pre med, I could do other things with like epidemiology or research. So I felt like it would be a great major that would allow me to go down different paths in science if I decided to choose to go down another route. So I thought biology was the best way to go.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that with
Yeah.
us, Paris. So before I ask you the second question, is there a criteria, before you, like for instance, in your country, in the US, is there a criteria to do a course before moving into a PA school in the US? For instance, can you tell us about the application process first, and tell us what are the criteria to enter into PA school? Because there are people that are going to as well watch this video that wanted to be like you, to join
Yeah.
into the PA, want to be a physician associate.
Mhm.
So tell us, how did you do the transition, from biology to PA school? How was everything? The process was like you.
Yeah. So overall in the United States, like I said, I majored in biology, but you could major in any undergraduate career. You just need your bachelor's, and then the requirements for most PA schools. Typically, biology courses, you need chemistry, like general chemistry 1 and 2. Some of them also require organic chemistry, and you'll need anatomy and physiology. The requirements kind of differ program to program based on what they think is best. So they may also require statistics and psychology, but all of those things can be found on their websites depending on what you wanted to, what schools you wanted to apply to.
Hmm.
And then once you get into those requirements and you fulfill those, you also will need patient care experience. So that's going as a medical assistant, a CNA, or an EMT. You're working in the field with patients and you have that contact with them, so that they know that you're able to have empathy and you're able to have good bedside manner. You're learning a lot about the medical field prior to going into PA school, since it's a 2 or 3 year program. And then once you get those requirements, you also may need the GRE or the PA CAB, which are grad exams that they would require you to do to fulfill the requirements. And then, yeah, you'll just do the interview if they extend that offer to you, and then you'll see what happens after that, whether you get accepted or waitlisted or whatever they decide. So that's like the main things.
Amazing. So now I can know. Now I understood why you did it. You served as a medical assistant at
Yes. Hmm.
the what? Where did you do your medical assistance? Where did you do it at?
Yeah.
That,
Um,
what does that mean? Sorry, what does that
yeah.
mean? The OBGYN. I'm kind of
Yeah.
like confused. Is it related to what's it called? Gynecology and
Yes,
obstetrics,
obstetrics and
something.
gynecology. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
that's like the abbreviation, but it is obstetrics and gynecology. That was the field I worked in as a medical assistant. That was like my most recent patient care experience. I was there for a year, working with an organization in Virginia. And I was doing a lot of assisting with the providers of like IUD insertion, taking history prior to the providers coming in, getting all the vital signs, and then, kind of being that in between person in case the providers were busy. I would answer any phone calls if needed, answer my chart messages and things like that. And then I also worked as a medical assistant in pain management. So that was more so working with like the patients to make sure we knew what their monthly appointments they were coming in for, making sure they were on schedule with their medications. And if
Yeah.
anything was going wrong, we relay that to the providers. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So we
Yeah.
have a question based on that. So I don't want
Yeah.
to jump the questions, right? So that drives me to the second question, right?
Hmm.
So can you share some of the highlights, and challenges of your experiences so far as a peer medical student, and how are you, you know, able to overcome them, in your according to your studies, in PA school?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things right now, like I said, it was my first quarter. Just the thoughts that I would have about myself going through different exams and different physical exams that we have to do. I have to tell myself every day, like, I'm meant to be here. So even if I didn't do as well as I thought I would, that doesn't define me as a PA or a future PA. It just means that, I have things to work on. So that's one of the biggest challenges, just telling myself every day that I'm able to get through and do well on all the things that they want me to do. In addition, I moved to a new area in Virginia. So just adjusting to that, living on my own and having to meet new people is also pretty difficult at first, but I definitely have bonded with my class overall. So I'm very grateful for that. Shout out to them if they're watching. Um, and I think one other thing is just the amount of information they give you because it's so much that they want you to learn in a short period of time. I can say, like, I guess a comparison, what you would learn in undergrad in 2 months, they want you to learn in 2 weeks. So it's pretty fast paced. So I just had to figure out how to like multitask with different classes so that I can still do well, given maybe 2 to 3 exams that I'll have to do every week. But overall, I think I've learned my study style and my way of organization. So I think I've learned how to do better for next quarter as I continue to get more harder courses. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So
Yeah.
did you write the MCAT exam? Did you?
Did I take it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't have to for PA school. They have like a PA cat, which is like the PA version of an MCAT, but none of the schools I
Okay.
applied for required it. So I didn't take the MCAT or PA cat.
Okay, there are medical students that requires the PM MCAT and the MCAT, right?
The medical students, yeah, they require the MCAT, and then here some PA schools will require the PA CAT. So it's like similar exams for entry level or entry into grad
So
schools.
before I go to the third question, how did you prepare for the exams you wrote? Because you mentioned a couple of exams you wrote,
Yeah.
before entering to PMS school. So tell us how you prepared for these exams and how you conquered them. So for people, they're gonna watch this video and they're preparing for one or two exams, your own strategies could help them. So tell us.
Yeah. So like I said, I didn't take the PA CAT or MCAT personally. I did take the GRE, which is required in the United States for entry into many graduate programs. And main thing I did was just get like a Kaplan book. You could get that on Amazon or go to like Barnes and Nobles or something like that. And I just went through that for 2 months and I just stuck to a study schedule that they actually had online. So I just kind of made sure I was pretty disciplined after work and did that around 2 hours a day, going through the different topics that they had. And then, yeah, I took my GRE and I did pretty well. So I didn't have to take it again. I would say that since the MCAT and the PA CAT are more intense, I would say, as far as like heavy science, there's probably going to be similar type of way you can organize yourself so you can get a book, organize yourself to be on a monthly or weekly schedule, and then be prepared for this test exam or the test that you have to take. But it's just you have to like be disciplined every day if you're not gonna do a program that you, I guess, pay for somebody to help you do that. So
Yeah, amazing.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that,
Mhm.
Paris. So that draws me to the third question. So
Mhm.
as a formal, medical assistant at the gynecology department, what can you understand from these, position and the transition to doctorate? So tell us how you worked as a medical assistant at the gynecology department. How does it help you with your studies right now
Yeah.
at the PMS school? So tell us.
Yeah. I just want to make sure clarifying. I'm not gonna get my doctor's a PA. I'm just getting my master's. So either way, of course, totally understand the question. But as an MA in OB/GYN and both in pain management, I learned a lot about like medical, like I guess medical knowledge, because you're in the room with the providers, you're working with them on different procedures, and you're also sometimes note taking if you need to for them. So you learn how to talk with patients about difficult, experiences, and you also learn how to multitask and make sure that you get everything done in a short period of time, because a medical assistant, you're having to kind of do all the clinical things within the office as well as work with the patients. So it taught me a lot about multitasking, time management, and working with patients to make sure that they feel comfortable, given whatever situation that they're coming in for, especially OB-GYN, where we could have patients who, may have miscarried. But then there's also patients who came in, that great news that they've been able to conceive maybe after a third or fourth try. So you just have to kind of like see how they're going through everything in their life and be that kind of person to help them out whenever they're, going through tough situations or very happy situations. But that definitely translates as a PA because again, I have to be the one relaying the bad news. So I've learned how to work with patients and talk with them, to make sure that I'm being empathetic and understanding of what they're going through. Regardless of, where my background is, I should always be empathetic towards them.
Yeah, so I want to ask a question. Does
Yeah.
radiographers or radiologists work in the gynecology department?
Mhm. Wait,
So what I said
sorry.
is, the radiographers work along with the gynecologists in the gynecology department.
Yes, there are, like, I guess you're talking about, like, the sonographers, like, the ones who kinda see, the sizing of the baby on the ultrasounds. We did have those. They're, like, in another department, so we don't typically see them, but we also have, like, ultrasounds in office that the providers would use to make sure that they could see if
Yeah,
the patient's baby was viable and make sure that the baby was okay depending on where they were in their pregnancy. But yeah, we did have sonographers and radiologists along with the providers.
yeah. So in the gynecology department, is it only for pregnant women, or about the women that are still seeking for some solution to how to get pregnant or to conceive? For years they've not conceived, they've not gotten pregnant. So do they go to the gynecology department to seek solution? Because why I asked that question is, in my
Mhm,
second year in med school, when they were teaching me about psychology and radiography.
mhm.
There is a medical procedure that are be that are done for patients that are looking for how to conceive. They've not been conceiving for a while. They're looking for solution and how to get pregnant or something. And the medical procedure is called hysterosalpingography. Have you heard about that?
No, I actually haven't heard about that. I think
Okay.
partially because so like with OB-GYN, if they were having trouble conceiving, we would actually refer them to the fertility clinics. So that would maybe more so with like fertility clinics where they would talk with them about different options like in
Yeah,
vitro fertilization and things like that. But we would see them once they've actually confirmed they had their pregnancy with the fertility clinics. So I didn't do much with the patients prior to that. Yeah, unfortunately, but that
yeah,
sounds really
because
interesting.
the procedure done, on a patient looking forward to, you know, getting pregnant or like the
Mhm.
first fertility or whatever. The medical procedure is called hysterosalpingography. I
Okay.
don't want to get more details about it. So, yeah, you've learned something today, right?
Yeah, I definitely did. I was like, I hadn't learned that, but that's really cool. I'll look into that, like, literally after
Yeah,
this
sure.
call.
Yeah, sure.
So
Me too. I'm a radiography med student, so we do a lot of things, but thank you for everything. So, that knowledge or that experience you had as a medical assistant at the
mhm.
gynecology department, how does it affect your practice in the future? Tell us.
Yeah. That's a great question. So far, I do definitely see myself working in women's health and OB-GYN at some point. But working as a medical assistant definitely taught me a lot, again, about different patients and their backgrounds. Because again, you like we were talking about with fertility, there's patients that come in who have been trying for so long, and you may be the person that either tells them the good or the bad news. So I've learned how to relay that information to them. Also learning, hopefully in the future with my PA studies, like what ways to help with pain. because a lot of patients come in, we have to do different procedures, like biopsies and IUD insertion, Nexplanons. That can be pretty painful. There's not that many pain options. So just trying to figure out different ways to help patients through those procedures. I definitely want to be able to do that better in the future as a PA. But seeing as an MA, the different ways that providers try to do things to help with that was definitely important. And I also think overall, I've learned so much about being an MA that as a PA, I definitely respect all the clinical staff members, have respect for everybody at front desk. Like I know all the layers of like what everybody does right now. So I think it's very important as a provider to know what everybody who is helping you is doing so that you can be a really good coworker for them as well. So it's been a lot that I've learned overall as an MA so far.
So, and how much experience did you gather as a medical assistant at the gynecology department? Did you stay a year or few
Yeah,
months?
around a year for that, and then I was, at pain management for 9 months part-time, so it wasn't like how I was a full-time medical assistant as OB at OBGYN, but a part-time medical assistant in pain management.
It seems to me that you took a gap year, right?
Yes, I took 1 gap year, I did. Mhm.
Okay, all right, amazing. I think they should implement that to my own country's educational system. I think gap year should be implemented because, yeah, we really need that in my educational system because we're really going through a lot, but
Okay,
God is by
yeah.
our side, God is,
Yes, he is.
helping us.
He
Is really
is.
helping us. I think
Yeah.
gap year is like strategizing about your next process, right? It
Yeah.
helps to boost someone's mentality. If you're kind of like depressed with the whole medical stuff, you can just take few years off just to it's like just to get more energy back. So I think it
Yeah.
should be implemented in my country as well. So before I ask you the fourth question,
Mhm.
wait, being a physician associate
Mhm.
and being a medical doctor, what is the role of a physician associate in the healthcare system?
Yeah, a great question. So I kind of was explaining a little before, PAs are allowed, I mean, are able to, diagnose patients. They can prescribe medications. The schedule differs state by state. And then we also can first assist in different surgeries. And we can perform minor procedures in the clinics. Mainly, or at this moment, most states are implementing, we have to work with the collaborating physician or MD or DO. So that relationship kind of differs depending on how long you've been working in the field and how much the physician trusts you. But overall, they may be able to be there to like help out if you have any questions or want to like work through a case with them, but they also may not be in the physical clinic or hospital with you depending on that relationship. So like I said, there's still advanced practice providers, PAs, but we work with the collaborating physician to provide the care for the patients. But we have a lot of autonomy based on states and the relationship that we have with the providers or with the physicians.
Amazing, amazing,
Mhm.
amazing. Before I ask you the first question, I read a publication about if you studied a course and you didn't get a job under 2 years, you have to go back to med school. Have you heard about something like that?
Really? No, I actually haven't heard that. I only heard if, let's say you didn't pass the boards, you would have to retake either the boards again. And for PA school specifically, if you don't pass it after 6 tries, you do have to reapply to PA school and go through your education again. That's the only time where I've heard you've had to like redo anything. But other than that, you should be able to find a job. I feel like there's still a shortage of physicians, PAs, and Ps. So they want us to be in the field in the United States. Yeah.
Because they would assume, well, why I say that, because according to the publication I wrote, if you didn't get work, like a
Mhm.
job, they assume under 2 years, they assume that you've forgotten a lot of things you learn in
Okay.
med school. So they assume that you have to maybe go back or do some little courses,
Right.
that can level your knowledge up or something. Yeah,
Really?
I think you
Okay.
heard
And
something.
is that for here in the United States, or is it like just in general, or?
I think it's in country. I read that. That was last year. I read
Okay.
something there. I think you should do some research and get back to me based on that.
Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely look into that. I haven't heard much, like I said, only mostly about the boards if you weren't able to pass, but I haven't heard
Yeah.
after you've passed your boards if you had a certain time frame before you would have to do anything extra. But that's a
Yeah,
good
I
thing I'll
totally
look into.
understand. I totally
Mhm.
understand. So, the fourth question, it goes this way. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, yeah.
So, how confident are you in your treatment? That means in your studies in PA school. And what advice would you give to other master's degree holders, who wants to bring their faith, or other doctors out there, or
Mhm.
other PAs out there who wants to bring their faith into their work? Because I know you believe in Christ, right?
Yes, I do. I really do.
So
Um,
that was your
yeah.
advice for them, for medical doctors or PAs out there that are looking forward to, implementing their faith into their work. So tell us.
Yeah. I think you said the first question, how like, what advice would I give to, or I guess, like, what how do I feel about, like, my treatment, I guess? Like, how
Yeah,
confident do
how
I feel in that?
confident you,
Oh,
how
well, yeah,
confident
right
you.
now, because I only have 1 quarter under my belt, I don't feel confident. I feel confident in the fact that I can learn all of those things, but of course, like, I'm still learning things, every time. So that's gonna change as I get closer to the end of my education. But so far, I feel confident that I can learn it at least. And then as far as building, working in the medical field and being a provider while being a Christian, or having your faith put into it, I definitely think, for me, I go to church every Sunday or at least watch it online. And I have people in my cohort who are also believers that I talk to about, the experiences we have in medicine. I think it's so easy to get so busy with everything that, being in the medical field requires, that you forget to build that time in with God and, read your Bible, or even just download the Bible app and kind of look through scripture. Like, it's so easy to just get so busy, but I've implemented every morning I wake up, I read my word, on like the Bible app. And then anytime I feel like distressed or I feel like I don't know where to turn to, I'll watch a sermon online or I'll go back to my notes from last week's sermon, and I'll just make sure I like implement that in my life, so that like in the future, if I have those thoughts or those feelings, that I remember scripture and I remember God through it all, so that I don't get overwhelmed by everything, because it's just so easy to get overwhelmed and feel down, but God is always here. So you have to just build in that time every day to be in your word and be in your faith. So that's like my main ways of doing it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Paris, soon to be a doctor, very soon.
Mhm.
So we have two more questions to go for you. You ready?
Yeah.
By the way, that was a nice nugget you dropped there, and I believe that doctors they're gonna come across this video. PAs, medical students as well. They can as well implement those strategies you dropped. In order to use their faith, to implement in the works. So, thank you so
Mhm.
much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, no problem.
I see on social media that your goal, in your content creation on
Yeah.
social media is to inspire, motivate, and educate people. So,
Mhm.
can you share some ideas or tips on how to achieve these goals through the platform? Because I know you share content that are really inspiring, educating, and there's challenges you face as well on social
Mhm.
media. So tell us, you share amazing content. So how do you intend to, and there are goals you set for on social media to achieve. So how do you intend to achieve these goals? So tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, so I started this page because this was back when I was a pre PA student, actually. And I started it because I didn't see too much PA representation online. I was seeing a lot of nursing, pre med, or medical students. But I wanted to show my journey of becoming a PA and educate people in my life on what a PA does and the paths that we have to take to get to reach our goal. So my main things I'll always do, I always promote different things on my story that may help people who want to go to the PA route. And I also, like we were talking about faith, anytime I go through something in my life that I feel like, maybe God's trying to tell me something, I'll share it with my followers and tell them like different things that I learned so that they can implement that into their life. And it doesn't always apply to PA, it could apply to any situation where you need that pick me up. I'll always try to be that motivational person to help you if I have that in my own life where I feel like God's trying to tell me something. And now I'm also trying to work on posting more about, but prior to the CASPA application, which is the application for PA school, before that opens at the end of this month, I'm working to post more about what things they could be done to make sure people are prepared to do well in their application. So that's how I'm educating a lot of people as well. So those three things are mainly what I do, and I'm going to continue to post more as I get into my PA studies and learn more throughout it. But those are what the things I do so far. So very grateful that you even came across my page and that you wanted to interview me because it's a great opportunity. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely welcome. So we have the last question for you. How do you
Mhm.
feel about the last question? You ready? Are you sure?
Yes, I'm excited. Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So, what are some key lessons or experiences in your journey that have greatly, impacted your approach to nursing and medical advice? To tell us.
Yeah, some I guess like some things that have like affected my approach to medical education. Mainly, so I feel like going back to like my undergrad career, biology required a lot of multitasking, and usually I was taking 2 to 3 science courses a semester, which was pretty heavy course load to make sure that I was fulfilling all the requirements for PA school. So that definitely impacted my education by like just telling me how I like to study and learning my different ways of organization so that I can be successful as a PA student and eventually a PA. Also, some things that I like to do, again, on my page is like motivating people. I think medical education can kind of be cutthroat sometimes, where you kind of feel like you're neck and neck against other people. But I always try to make sure I'm being helpful to others because we all have the same goal of being successful in our career paths, regardless of whatever role we decide. So, again, I try to implement that positivity into my life to help others. And then another thing I'll do, I'm like trying to think if there's any other things in my life. Oh yeah, definitely my junior year of undergrad, I learned a lot about talking with my faculty advisors and my professors. So anytime you need help, you have to reach out. We're students at the end of the day. We're not meant to know everything. So I think when I went through my junior year, which was my hardest year in undergrad, I learned to reach out for help whenever I need it. I continue to do that in PA school, emailing my providers, I mean, my faculty, and also asking them for any advice, even if it's not related to like the specific class, but just PA school in general, so that I could be, well equipped for what they're going to continue to throw at me throughout my education. So those are some nuggets that have shaped my education overall. Yeah.
I think in summary, I think asking the right question, can help you in everything you do. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing that with us, Paris. So we've come to the end of the session. You've been an amazing guest speaker today, Paris, and I believe that
Thank
the
you.
audience really grabbed something from what you just said. So before we wrap up the session, what are your last words for the audience?
Last words. Honestly, I think my whole page, I've shown you guys everything about, getting to where I am, which is being a PA student. But anybody who has a goal in life, just keep going. There may be obstacles that come into your way that you may feel like you may not be able to get over, but maybe they're meant to help you and strengthen you to be better for the next season of your life. So keep going, stay positive, and you will do amazing. Also, reach out to me if you ever need anything. I'm always here to help. I had so much help throughout my journey. So, yeah, that's my main things. And I appreciate you for listening today.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Paris. So we've come to the end of the session. If you love this content, do it too. Subscribe, like, and share to your network. Thank you so much, yo. Thank you, Paris.
Yeah, thank you. Mhm.